already know that when we add heat to something, we can change the phase, we can change the temperature. So I wanted to give you some names for energies that are changing when we do these kinds of things. Here's the solid again, solid plate. This is our simulation. It's at a low temperature. Atoms are bouncing around a little bit. When we add energy to it, and add a little bit of energy, what happens is that the temperature goes up and the atoms begin bouncing around more, so they move faster. The energy we added is thermal energy. It leads to atoms moving faster, and it's what we're used to when we talk about temperature. The thermal energy is related to the temperature. If the temperature is low, the thermal energy is low. If you add heat like I did, and that heat just increases the thermal energy, then it doesn't change the phase. This is still a solid, but it does make the atoms move faster. So if I keep adding heat, I've already done this before, so I'll do it again. I can make the atoms move even faster, and I think if we just wait a little bit, you will see that what happened is that it actually changes phase. It goes from that solid plate that I had, which was where the atoms were all ordered, they were all in rows, into this disordered liquid droplet. When you're not changing the temperature, the energy that you add that breaks up the bonds that were holding this thing in a solid plate, some of those are broken. So when you break the bonds, you've added bond energy. Bond energy is lower if there are more bonds or stronger bonds. In the crystalline state, you can say that either there are more bonds or stronger bonds, and so the bond energy was lower. When I added heat to change the phase, that heat energy went into increasing the bond energy and changing the phase. If I keep adding energy to the liquid, then I go back to adding thermal energy. I make the atoms move faster. The energy I add is thermal energy. I add some more, still thermal energy. Temperature goes up, atoms are moving faster, phase hasn't changed. The heat energy I added was thermal energy. I'm going to add enough now that I change it to a gas, I hope. So you can see that I've broken a bunch of bonds. The energy that I added broke loose a bunch of, add a little bit more energy. The energy that I added broke loose a bunch of atoms that were bonded together, and now they're not. So in the gas, you've broken up a bunch of bonds. And in other words, in adding heat to change the phase from the liquid phase to the gas phase, we've broken bonds. And the energy that we've added, the heat energy we added, has increased the bond energy. If I keep adding energy, the atoms move faster and faster. And what I'm doing is increasing thermal energy. Still a gas, but at that point, I'm increasing thermal energy.